Hi there. Sorry it's been so long. My real life has been really busy with studies, activism, and personal life. But today someone asked me what my position on human rights is, and I wanted to do a little video response. My basic thought about human rights is that it is for everybody, regardless of categorization. Human rights are for every single individual human being. It is not for any categorization or category of people specifically. It is for human beings, period. As they say in the second article of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and I quote, "Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration, without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status." In other words, this is for people, period. Human rights is for everybody. However, very much activism for real human rights or for things being done in the name of human rights is based on categories. We divide humanity into two or more groups, and then we start fighting for one of these groups. This kind of struggle is sometimes necessary and sometimes a good idea, but it is ultimately a dead end. It can never truly solve the basic problems. It can solve some problems along the way, and we need that. But it is not the final goal. It is not what we should aim for. All movements based on specific categorizations are a little piece of the puzzle at best and a dead end or step in the wrong direction at worst. The person who asked the question was talking about one of these categorizations where we divide humanity into two kinds of people. And I think his real question was, what side am I on? Am I for this category or that category? And the answer is no, I am not for categories. I am for human beings. And thus, my answer is also yes, I am for the people in one of those two categories, and I'm also for the people in the other category. As for movements, I am with the reservation for a lot of movements. There are no movements that I accept without any reservation, but a lot of movements do a lot of good. And when it comes to people fighting for one certain category, there is usually a lot of diversity. Some groups are much more reasonable than others, and some ideologies within the same spectrum. A lot of movements are based on dividing people into privileged and oppressed. And this way of analysis do have its good points. I do think it's overused in different ways. But as long as it's used in a reasonable way, it can be useful. There is massive historical evidence that certain categories of people, such as people of color, women, and gay people, have faced massive discrimination throughout history and are still oppressed to a very large extent. And this is something that we need to do something about. This doesn't mean and should not mean being against people who don't happen to belong to these particular categories. I know that there are some people who go that far, and I think that's going off the wrong edge. But when people start saying that, oh, it's the white race who is being oppressed, or men are the oppressed genders, or heterosexuals are the sexual orientation that is having it so hard, a lot of alarm bells go off for very good reason. There's a lot of people who have a really bad life and are being discriminated in all sorts of ways, in spite of being white, male, and or heterosexual. But being discriminated against because of being white, male, and or heterosexual, that is a very small problem. Yes, it happens, but not at all in the same kind of volume as the other way around. So we need to fight for equality for everybody, and that includes fighting to overcome historical inequalities. And that's all I have to say for now. Live long and prosper.